Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Happy Saturday. How is everybody? Oh, come on. Okay. Eight. Eight. I don't know if I want to do 8. Wait a minute. 2, 4, 6. Alright. Chancho. Each one of these would be almost 2 inches. Do I want them to be 2 inches? Hey Eliza, how you doing? Oh, that's really big. So an inch is about that big. Okay. Let's do them this big. How's your day, Eliza? I like this guy, but I want him to be bigger. Yeah, those feel good. Let's do that. You just woke up? Wow. That's crazy. What time is it? I'm about ready to roll with this. Save your file. 5:37. Damn. It's 3:37 p.m. here. Holy wow. Alright. Oh, come on. Damn it. Oh my god. Wait, it's 5:37 on Sunday. Oh man, it's Saturday here. I omitted that part. So wait, you were ahead of me. I thought you were behind me, so you're ahead of me. That's crazy. I'm so dumb sometimes when it comes to time. Like, I don't know how many times I've figured out GMT and all that, but I still don't know. I'll be completely honest, I still don't know. Chancho, don't start. Don't start. Don't you start. You be cool, man. Chancho, come lay down. You haven't taken a nap. I'm from the future. Indeed you are. I don't know how I want to show this. Chancho, come here. Come here. You know, honestly, that might be good enough. I know, I feel the exact same. And here I am being dumb again, but does military time go internationally? It doesn't, right? It's just, no, never mind. I'm dumb. Nope, it doesn't. I answered my own question. I wonder, is there, like, in some facet for maybe businesses? Like, is there a worldwide time? Like a WWT? I mean, that seems like something smart they should just do anyway, right? Like, why wouldn't you do that? Chancho, come here. Hey. There totally should be. It's so silly there's not. I don't like how cramped these ones are. I'm gonna combine them. I don't like that either. Maybe this? Yeah, I can dig this. I'm okay with this. Oh yeah, we have daylight savings. Oh boy. The whole thing about daylight savings nowadays, daylight savings is totally unnecessary nowadays. Like, it used to be for farmers so they could get more, like, light out of their day, so they'd, you know, wake up technically earlier because that's when they really needed light, and so that's why we did the clocks back and all that junk. But nowadays, that's not really necessary. So it's like, well, why do we even need it? No, this needs to be fatter. There we go. I'm gonna fix its symmetry later. I don't necessarily want to do it at the moment. I'd rather get more of this done. Maybe though, thin this out and make the other one the heck? Let me see if I like this. Man, that's tough. I think I do like that better. Yeah, exactly. It's like not even like a heartfelt tradition or anything. Oh, I'm being hailed. Gross. Gabe's at the gym right now and felt the need to tweet about the men's locker room. So honestly, he's been complaining a lot on Twitter. It's pretty entertaining. Oh, yo, I added some pictures of my dog today. And the other dog. Here. Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's so weird, too. How do I want to do this? I want to, like, attach it, like... Oh my god. Our dogs are so quirky. I love it. Both of them, all of them. Chancho does this thing in the morning where sometimes, I mean, sometimes he'll do it to wake us up, but other times he'll do it just because he wants to cuddle in the morning, but he will, like, just stomp all over us. Like, he'll start at your feet and he'll walk up you, and then once he gets to, like, your chest area, he'll just lay down on you, and if you're on your back, on your stomach, even on your side, he will still do it. And it's really funny. I've never known a dog to do that because he has to keep his balance or else he'll fall off the bed. We don't have a very big bed, so it's pretty funny. So, like, I think Gabe was sleeping this morning with his arm around a pillow, and he was on his side, so that creates like a little cavity between his belly and his arm, and Chancho just like laid in that. And it's like Gabe can't really get up without knocking Chancho over then, so it was kind of funny. I guess that works. What do you got in store today, Eliza? What are you gonna do? It's Sunday. For you. You were in Malaysia, right? I feel like this is just too much information here. So I'm gonna get rid of that. It's like too accurate. It's bothering me. Let's just do maybe a silly little top here that actually connects. Oh, the Philippines. Damn it. I knew that. Now I'm gonna ask another really dumb question. You ready? Do you speak Filipino? I don't know if we've ever asked you this. You must, right? Or do they mostly speak English there? See? Dumb questions. Told you. I warned you. Damn, I don't like that at all either. I feel like this is where another one would start. Maybe I can just... Hold on. I'll figure this out. The sketch was so much simpler. I don't know what happened. Yeah, that works for me. Oh, strings on your uke. Cool. I have a ukulele too. Conversationally. But do majority of people speak English, or is it mainly Filipino? Oh man, no. I played it for maybe a year and a half, like 7 years ago, so I am not up to speed on it. I would have to get back into it again. The piano I can kind of do still, like when I try, but not as good as I used to when I was practicing. Hey, Jazzy. Oh, I would love to have time to animate these. That would be great. But alas, I do not. These are for the Patreon folks, so I wanted to send out the Curious Collector stuff on Monday so they have it before the end of the month again. Ideally, I want to get out the Curious Collectors every month, like after payment goes through right away on Patreon, but I'm working on getting it to that point. It's tough right now with my schedule, but I'm working on it. How's your day been, Jazzy? I keep thinking it's Friday. Probably because I'm streaming, but... Ooh, that's a happy accident. I like that. We'll go with that. Oh, well that's fun though. I wish I still had time to play my instruments. At least my kalimba I can play like while I'm sitting at my desk, so that's been nice. Love that damn thing. See, what's gonna suck about doing these is I know by like the 4th Acorn dude I do, I'm gonna figure out a pattern of how I want to do these segments on them, and then I'll have to like go back and retrofit my formula. But, you know, it's kind of necessary if you want to make them cohesive, make them look like they're part of the same set. Otherwise it could really throw off their consistency. And if you're a consistency stickler like me, you really probably want them to be consistent. See, already I feel like I'm getting into the swing right now, so I might have to go back and redo these other ones, I don't know. It's a day. I spent the first 3 hours baking. Oh, cute! Oh, Christmas cookies. I don't think I've ever, like, legitimately made Christmas cookies. Crazy old lady baker. Aw, you should draw her if she's kind of cute and, you know, happy. Crazy old lady baker. She sounds adorable. How you doing, Butters? You okay? Oh man, then you gotta do it. I feel like whenever you think, like, man, I should draw this person, you totally should. Like, one of my patrons came and visited me when I was at Dragon Con, and she was dressed so adorably. I asked her if I could take a picture of her because I wanted to draw her later. I technically haven't yet, but I still really want to because it was such a cute outfit. Oh my god. And she's so nice that it, you know, I feel like I should draw it and give it to her because she's such a sweetie. It's like, do I make a big deal of the oak leaves? I kind of want to. Like every acorn needs an oak leaf. Yeah, I dig that. It's like I want to add dimension to these, but I also don't. Yeah, maybe I'll do it with color. This little guy. Little sprout. I don't know if he should be. Nah. You know what? Maybe he shouldn't be happy. Maybe he should just be like, oh, I'm awake. Or, oh, here we go. Half and half. He's excited. I'm so grateful for Patreon. It's kept me so sane. Oh. With all the commissions I have, I go a little crazy every once in a while because I have so many, but You know, and I've got people kind of breathing down my neck sometimes. Most people are pretty good about not complaining or anything, but every once in a while you get somebody who's a little bit impatient. But I'm very thankful for Patreon because it gives me a little bit of creativity, like creative time that I'm technically paid for, and it really lets me breathe a bit. Even though it's still work, I at least feel like I can have fun. Because I mean, the commissions are fun too, but they are still work, and they're still, you know, criteria that I feel I have to meet with them. So, I mean, yes, I did kind of make my own bed with them, you know, but every once in a while I do get burned out from them, even though it is the grave that I dug, you know. Work and fun? But how? Hi, Wade. Wade, how are you? We miss you. Well, and like, I don't get to draw for myself anymore. So I really consider, you know, when I'm doing my Patreon work, that it's technically drawing for myself, but I get to at least make something from it, you know, and like I said, technically I got paid for it, so it's already really nice. Plus there's that whole idea that the people that back you trust you to give them good content every month. And I know for some people that could probably be kind of scary, but I always really like that. I mean, that's how my commissions work anyway. People give me money and they don't even know what it's gonna look like yet, you know, and then I do it. So I feel like this is similar to that, so I like it. I don't know. It feels good to have that kind of relationship with your, I guess, fans. It seems really weird to say fans, but I guess that's what they are. Because I feel like, let's say, some of you know me pretty well. If I didn't have Patreon, like, telling me, hey, take a break from the commissions, I wouldn't. And I think I'd even go more crazy. Because I'm just really bad at telling myself, hey, how about a break? Huh? Yeah? I don't really take them. It's almost like I have to justify that my break is still working somehow. Maybe this is like a bad thing that's deeper than I think it is. But anyway. So at least, like, I am having fun. I'm exercising my creativity in a way I'm not normally. And I don't know. It feels a lot more healthy than if I didn't have it. So that's why I'm thankful for Patreon. And I enjoy the dollar tier too. Just because it's consistent, it's building towards a bigger product that I could potentially sell as well. But it is another fun thing too. I like making coloring pages because they're simple. Here we go. All right. Moving along. Let's do Water Boy. Oh man, let's do him. Yep, see, I've already figured out this formula, so now I'm gonna have to go back. Wait, the fact you knew he needed it. I was pretty upset though when I played with it. I remember them being a lot more intricate and actually having like legs and stuff, but this one didn't. And I was like, what the hell? And he's like, oh, the intricate one is much later. And I was like, well, what the crap? I thought you were getting that one. So that was kind of a letdown. The thing is ugly as sin too. Let's be honest. It's ugly. I can't even tell what kind of face it has. It's stupid. But you know Gabe. He likes his mini toys. And he was so happy about it. You can't turn that kid down. Another good side effect of Patreon too for me is that that's the only time I can really tell myself, well, you should stream it. You know, because honestly, the pet portraits, for them to go fast, I have to really be concentrating, so I can't really be streaming. But when it comes to the Patreon stuff, like I said, I'm having fun, so I'm not stressing it as bad. God, I don't want to do this side. It's not going to end up how I want it to. Eh, that's okay. I don't mind that. Just curl it. Mm. That'll do. The no legs. I know! That's so stupid. It wasn't even a transformer. I don't consider that a transformer. It just folded out. That's what it did. Awesome, Jazzy. Just remember, start off with digital stuff first and really low amounts of it, because you don't want to overshoot and then pull back. It's easier to add on later. I think we've told you that though. You probably knew. Well, he got a Happy Meal toy. Sorry, Wade and I are talking about the new Happy Meal toys that are technically just throwbacks of the retro ones. So that's why us old folks were excited, because they were the ones we had when we were kids. But like I said, it's not the same. Okay, Lastima. Alrighty. Always have a dollar tier though. The dollar tier is, I would argue, the most important, whether you have like a ton of people or not. So, I mean, you got 300 people at the dollar tier. Shit, man. You're making $300 a month easy. So I would say at least have a dollar tier. You could even just have a dollar tier. I wouldn't even worry about other junk right away. Okay, last two, yes. I'm glad you got that. Oh, that was a nice curve, you guys. How about that? Let's go over here. I would just start with the dollar tier and just kind of see how gauge interest with it. And then, you know, make sure that the digital rewards you are thinking of adding really are you. Because for a while I was like, what kind of digital rewards would I do? You know, some people do tutorials and stuff. I would say tutorials are probably like the most common. Those and progress updates, like I follow Nicole Gustafson and Wiley Beckert and a couple of people like that, but you know, Wiley does a lot of progress pics, which I appreciate because I kind of work like her when I'm working traditionally, so it's nice to see. And Nicole's cool because she does a lot of gouache work, and her stuff is so intriguing, like her style is so unique that it was important to me to actually see how she works. So she does that too, but you know, when thinking of me and you know, what fits me and what I want to do, you know, I do so many pet portraits. I did a progress thing once of a pet portrait. I'm like, yep, that's basically it. And then I was like, I can't keep doing that. So I had to think about, well, what can I like consistently provide that's still very true to me and what I like to do. And the colorable calendar for me has been pretty fun because it suits my whole trying to get into the kids side of things. And, you know, it's functional, which I like things to be functional and practical and serve more than one purpose, typically. I like things to do that. So when I thought of the colorable calendar, I was like, well, this is hitting two things. That's perfect for me. So that worked for me. So maybe, you know, Jazzy, if you want to think about digital things you can provide that really, you know, are you, like what you like to do and what you could consistently provide every month. I think that's more the important thing. Like, what could you do every month and still be cool putting out? Yeah, I did that. Sorry, and the second is a work in progress. That's cool. Hey, Ashley! How are you doing today? Oh man, I chose all these acorns with the hats. This is a thing, you guys. This is a thing. This one's more of a baby, so I think I'm gonna make these sections a bit bigger. And as long as I keep this formula together that I've made for how I do these, I can vary the size of them and still have them look cohesive. If I didn't figure out this little formula that I'm using to do it, I don't think I could do that as easily. I think that's another reason I love making stickers, because part of my mind is super like graphical and loves working with shapes and silhouettes and defined line work and such. And that's the part that's like, when I go to traditional work, do I want to actually use that? Because I like kind of how it looks more when I do it digitally. So when I've said in the past, you know, you can have many styles. People don't just have one style. Don't hinge your life on finding one style. I mean it, you know, you don't need one style. You can have so many styles depending on the medium you use, your mood. Like, there's no rules to it. You don't have to have one. So anybody, when they're at a convention and they ask me, oh, how'd you find your style? They get a mouthful. I basically go on a little Twitch rant. There we go. That's cute enough. No. So whenever I make stickers, I'm typically making them for my $6 patrons for their additional like bonus they get with their usual package. And then I go and I sell these too, but really I sell them for like $8 a sheet, when really if you were just on the $6 tier you get them for free technically. So I usually say if you are a sticker fanatic, this might be a better way to go, is to just grab the $6 tier. Hey Serenity! I used to really talk mad shit about people doing stickers, and I'll still stand by that just when it comes to selling stickers at a convention. Don't sell singles. Sell them in a pack. It will make your life so much easier when it comes to like traveling and just having people at your table. Typically you want somebody at your table for 30 seconds and, you know, to a minute and no more, because, you know, you want people to get what they want and move along. So like if you have a board that has all these single stickers and you've got a sign that says, you know, 3 for blah 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 or 1 for this much, people are gonna just sit there and be taking up table space trying to figure out, well, which ones do I want? But most of the time, if you just make a sticker sheet and say, yeah, $5 sticker sheet, they'll just grab it and give you a 5 and leave, and it's great. Like, that's what you want. You want to figure out how to streamline your table so people can grab stuff and go. I don't like that eye. And same with online, you don't want to do the here's one sticker, here's another sticker. Just have the sheets online. It's the best way to go about it. Oh my today. I'm okay. I start off the day super sluggish, super tired, and I got enough sleep. I was just really, really dragging my feet. And then I was like, well, I gotta go to the gym. I try to go to the gym every day. So usually I know, well, if I go to the gym, I'm gonna be happy when I get back. And I was. And I actually thought I'd lose a lot of energy today, but I've maintained it pretty good. So I'm pretty happy about that. And then I thought, this was funny. We ordered a new camera, right, for our traditional streaming. And I was like, well, I can't start streaming until I get the camera. And I waited, and the camera came, and then I was holding it, and I was like, okay, but I'm streaming digital today. And then I felt like an idiot, so here I am doing digital, and blah, blah, blah. Very wise. Thank you. Or an elf that's effed up or noticed other people struggling and figured, well, is that worth it? Do I want to do that when I do that? No. That's why it pays to just be observational. Like if you're ever even attending a convention and you plan on, tabling someday, look at what people are doing and see if they're doing it the way you'd want to do it, or if there's something you could improve on what they're doing. I haven't tested it yet, no. I was actually going to let Gabe do that, because technically he found it, so I figured, he could do that. Basically it came, and I realized, oh, I don't need this for my stream today, and then I started streaming. Because I still want to get pencils done for a new piece tonight for commission, because I'm behind. So I've still got 20 regular commissions to do, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Christmas commissions left to do. So I really gotta do those. I do like getting my Christmas commissions out of the way before December hits if I can, because I do not want to send those off when, post office is getting crazy. Things happen when that happens. I'd rather not risk it.
Did you get it? Oh,
yeah. I didn't open it though because I grabbed it and I'm like, wait, I'm digital streaming today.
Oh.
Like
you could have used it for your face.
Yeah, because I have the face cam on, sure. Gabe got Bruno in the ball. What one's that one?
It's another Star Wars one. That or Frozen, and I'm not supporting Frozen.
Did it have Bruni on it though?
What? No, I literally haven't seen anything with Bruni on it.
Good.
So your idea of Luigi, you still got the...
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Oh. What was the other one then?
Diablo.
So what are we... Does anyone want to buy Diablo 3 on PS4 from us? Man, how far did we get in that though?
Nowhere. I think we played it once, but because it's over there.
Eliza says, hi, Gabe.
Hello.
Gabe got back from the grocery store and the gym. Yeah, you're gonna be waiting a while, depending on what you're gonna be playing on. I mean, we played 3 when it came out, but we're out here in the what we're calling the studio most of the time, and the Switch is out here, and the PS4 and all the other systems are in the game room, and we never get in the game room because we're always in the studio. So yeah, so we're thinking, well, let's just get 3 on the Switch so we can maybe play it in, you know, breaks. Because really out here in the studio we eat here, we watch TV here while we're working. Like, Gabe and I don't stop working. It's kind of stupid. Correction, it's really stupid. But hopefully next year will be our year to finally kind of chill out. Like, I worked hard this year to try to free up next year. And I'm going on that trip next year, which I'm counting as my vacation, basically. Christmas? What about Christmas? You think I get a break at Christmas? I don't get a break at Christmas.
Christmas. What's that?
Yeah, no, we don't stop then. If anything, I have to barrel through Christmas too, because I have a bunch of commissions too from spring. So I just want to get ahead of those. I want to get to the point where I'm doing commissions as I get them. I don't want a year backlog anymore. That's driving me up the wall. Though, if I'm honest with myself, that way is a little bit more scary. Because then I'm depending on getting orders a lot more frequently than I do. I really don't get that many organically through my store. Most of my orders come from conventions, and I've been toning down on conventions. So I think right now I only have like 2 next year, maybe? I applied for Gen Con too, so we'll see if I get into that. That would be great. Gen Con's my best convention. You didn't mean to send that? Why? Yay.
Huh?
Look.
Oh, cool.
Aren't they neat?
Yeah.
I'm such a nerd. If you hear Bruni, she's okay. She's just trying to devour a basketball. And that's what she sounds like.
So she doesn't do that with anything else.
I know. I think it's just because it's bigger than her and she can't chew it. She gets mad at things she can't own. My other bulldog did that too. They get so mad if they can't devour something. So, yeah, that's the problem, Jazzy. So if you think about conventions, especially comic conventions, they are comic conventions. They're meant for comic creators, comic professionals. So honestly, really the only reason I still get in a lot...
I'm not taking it away from her now.
Yeah, just for right now. Is because I've worked for Gabe on some comics that he's done. So I actually have professional credits. But that doesn't mean it has to be like really scary, like crazy important stuff. If you find that somebody's looking for a flatter, that's the easiest way to get professional cred. And Jazzy, I swear to God, somebody who has been using Photoshop for a month could do that job. Like, flats are super easy to do. So, I mean, look into that. Maybe look at some forums, something. Just as long as you can get your name in something that's going to be published. That's it, really. But you can still apply. Like, just because they say that doesn't mean you can't apply. It's just they're going to go through the professionals first, add them to the convention list, and then they'll go through everybody else, look at what they have, and then they'll add people after that. No, self-published usually doesn't count as the big stuff.
Unless you're like self-published and you're a superstar.
Or a webcomic artist. If you're a really well-known webcomic artist, that counts. They always ask about, are you a webcomic artist? And usually that gets you some cred too. But like the fact I've self-published 6 books doesn't really matter. What matters is that I helped Gabe with, life after.
Also, once in a while, they also, after they've filled in sort of like all the spots, then they start looking for.
I already said this.
Right, but sometimes newcomers get like a free half table. And some of the shows you'll get a free half table.
How many shows though do that?
All the repop shows do it. And then
I wouldn't say it's typical though.
it's not typical.
But the main thing though is there's no reason not to apply.
Yeah.
Like Gabe and I always say to apply anyway because you don't know what's happening with that con that year. Maybe they got somebody new on the team that's like, hey, let's get some new blood in this year and let's just focus on new people. You never know. So, it doesn't hurt to apply anyway. Usually it's called a color assist. I know that's what I was listed under. But, comic flats. Gabe, are there other terms for somebody who does flats?
No, it's just flatter. Like if
Well, I was color assist.
right, but that's like that could be a whole multitude of things. Usually it's not flatter. Like I've seen people mention the flatter in the credits.
Yeah.
But usually color assist is like actual like they helped color. And you sort of did. You gave me feedback and you helped more than what a flatter would do.
There you go. So a flatter, Eliza, is somebody... Here, I'll show you real quick. I'll even give you a visual here. So typically a flatter will get inks from the artist. And flatting is technically kind of bitch work, I'll say. Okay, yeah, let's use this guy. Okay, so let's say this was the art I got from the artist. Okay, where it's just the inks. Right? So that's what they gave me. So all a flatter does is you put down the basic colors that, the actual colorist can grab them to actually be able to easily color them. See, so I just flatted that rock. So if you select that layer, which for a Mac it's Command and click on the thumbnail, it's probably Control click on a PC, but if you Command click, you can easily do that and then, make a mask and then color it in that way. That's one way to do it. So it makes it really easy for the colorist to actually go in and color. A lot easier than them doing it themselves that way. You could also do a clipping mask above it, and it's basically the same thing. So all the colorist or the flatter is doing is going in and basically separating all the inked parts into various pieces. And like I said, it's kind of bitch work because, you're going in, you're selecting things, you're expanding the selection, and you're filling it with something, and you're just doing it on different layers so they're able to easily pick them and then color them legitimately. Right? And like I said, anyone can really do it. It's just, people want someone to do it and do it for cheap. Gabe's usual flatter is actually someone in the Philippines. So we pay like $10 a page, something like that. I think in the States, what is it, $20?
Yeah, people in the States charge that much.
Yeah, States are $20 a page, so that's pretty customary. Did that thing with the lines. How did you decide what color to make the line other than black? So, when I was doing mobile games, I wanted to do a lot of softer colors. And a lot of, like, if you look at any kids' art, kids' cartoons, things like that, if they even have lines, they take the base color of whatever the main thing is, and then I just scale the darkness down. So if you look, I took the mid-tone here, and I just scaled it down, and I warmed it up, and I just made it that color. So to do that easily, you've got your line art here, and I've shown Eliza this before, I think. But you've got your line work, right? This is the line art layer. And all you gotta do is add a clipping mask above it. So I've already done it, but you wanna make it a clipping mask, and then it looks like this with a little arrow, and it's indented, right? And then I'll choose yellow so you can see it. And then it just colors it in. So you don't even have to worry about selecting whatever, you know. So it's super easy. I'll do it for $11. Let me do it now. Oh, well. Well, actually, Jazzy, if you tell someone in America that you'll do it for $11, that's still pretty good. That way they don't have to deal with overseas stuff. But typically we get paid $20 here, but yeah. The timelines can be kind of crappy, but I don't know. If Gabe gets on another book, I'm sure he'd be happy to like lend out some, you know, flats to you guys, but we don't know when he's going to be on another major book.
I would do what?
Nothing. Shut up.
I probably would farm out to friends.
Yeah, if you're not listening, Gabe, I'm not going to repeat to you. You gotta be tuned in, man. What are you making? It smells weird.
It smells weird. Maybe the rest of my munchkin.
Oh, right. I hate when he's in the other room and he asks me what I said. I'm like, come on, man. You're welcome, Jazzy. You have boundaries. Why would you say 50? See, here's another thing. You gotta go by increments, like, or just giant jumps. Like, why would you do 1350? You know, if you're dealing with conventions or online prices, don't add cents and try to be on non-odd numbers. Even numbers. Think of the easiest way you would want to give someone cash. It's usually fives, right? You want to give them a 5, you want to give them a 10, you want to give them a 15, but never do like weird prices. It's strange.
Well, what's the real reason, though?
She was just being funny. But I know you're being funny, but it brings up a good point that I think is important for people that don't know, I guess, some pricing. Can you go put that in the thing? It's starting to get ish.
Because then you gotta carry around a shit ton of singles.
That too, and you know, nobody uses change, like metal change at a convention. That's just unheard of, basically.
And then you gotta do math.
Alright, I'm gonna give you a little scary reality check though real quick, Jazzy. Let's say for anybody who is reaching to be, you know, a freelancer that your art pays for everything, like Gabe and I. There's something you have to know that I didn't know when I jumped ship of my career, because I quit a career to do this. You want to make sure that you know off the bat you're not going to have free time for your personal work. I thought I would. I thought I'd have free time, you know, to work on the things I've always wanted to work on, the things I had been doing during the weekends, you know, things like that. And at night, I was like, oh yeah, if I go freelance, I'll have so much more time for my projects. Incorrect. What ended up happening in, what is this, year 3? Year 4?
Sorry.
It's like a little over year 3, because I started late 2015. But 3 years later, I'm finally balancing out how to actually get personal time back. So what sucks is the beginning part of your freelance life, you're going to spend a lot of that creating a new foundation, right? Hey, Spongy, thank you.
You know what it's like? It's like people who start restaurants. Like restaurants are like they're basically failing for the first like 3 or 4 or 5 years.
But the difference is when you get a restaurant, you got a loan to pay for that failure.
Yeah.
Where if you're doing freelance, you do not have that loan.
But see, so you're us as artists, we're in a debt of time.
Yeah.
Until we finally get to balance out that debt.
That's what sucks. Like, time becomes your currency to yourself. Like, you would rather have time than get paid. It's weird. Like, I would rather have an entire day than get more money. You know? It's so strange. But it does take so long to actually get to the point where you're a little bit comfortable, but you're also, you know, getting money and you're able to work on your own stuff. You know, it's hard. It is not easy. It's a lot of work. And it's a lot of knowing different ways you can get money, right? You know, and Gabe and I would never sell out and try to do fan art to get money. Obviously, that's a cheap way to do it. But you have to think of, well, you know, what are things I like that I can also monetize? Do you make pottery? Do you sew? You know, make separate stores for that. Because now you have to fill your time with things that make you money. So it can be, you know. What's that? Everybody else is on by
Then it turns into, is what I'm doing going to make me money or no?
a tongue click perfect. Oh, I love that. Thank you, Spongy. I heard it in my head. It's very satisfying. Sue me if you have a normal. You're so important. Thanks already. Your channel is right. See? There you go. That kind of stuff. So, like my enamel pins I ordered that I still have to make art for, they're going to be like a little tea set, you know? And then I've made jewelry in the past, and I keep those things, though, separate. Well, not the pins, but like the jewelry and the crafts and stuff, keep those separate from your illustration work. You know, have different stores for those so you can make those look like they're 100% that thing. Because if you lump them all into the same account, to anyone stumbling upon it, A, it's confusing for them. They're like, what are you? What do? You have so much stuff here. What is your main thing? But it also makes it look like your stuff may not be quality because that's not all you do. Like if you went to like an Etsy page that was all wreaths, right? Let's say they were all wreaths. You think that person like knows their shit, right? About wreaths. It's like, oh, you're the person to go to. But if they had wreaths, if they had greeting cards, if they had jewelry, if they had bookmarks, you'd be like, okay, well, maybe their wreaths aren't as good because they're doing all this other stuff or something. You know, you'd trust the wreath person more. So I feel like if you're going to split it up, make sure you're 100%ing at least the branding of those. See, that's getting tough, Jazzy. So Gabe with his toys right now is in a hard spot. He's been bringing his toys to conventions with his comic work and stuff, but it's starting to get muddy, right?
Oh, yeah.
So at some point, he will just do toy cons and then just bring toys to that one. And if he does comic cons, he'll just bring his illustration work to that one. So I would never muddy it up. You know, if you've got something that's different enough from your usual work, I would absolutely separate it. Let's see. Happy one. I mean, this is one of those times too where I'm like, so I guess I did learn some stuff when I had a career, you know, and I was able to use it outside of that. Because when I went freelance, I was like, okay, so did I waste all my college and everything? You know, like all my 10 years of being in games, was that wasted? It's like, no, it's just being redirected. Like a lot of my marketing stuff that I learned, I'm telling to you now, you know, and a lot of the stuff I've learned from doing conventions, I tell you guys now too. So every bit of experience you get, I feel like you can use it elsewhere. It's just finding where you can use it, you know. I mean, it's up to you, Jazzy. If you start branching out, though, other than, you know, just doing mushrooms, then you might want to, break it up. If you get enough of merch where your table's split and it starts becoming its own little monster, that's when you know you have to make it its own thing. You know? That means you've made enough merch of that thing that it can have its own table, you know? So yeah, I think for a while you'll be okay, but you'll eventually get more cohesive once you realize what works and what doesn't. You'll streamline your table. It just kind of happens, but it has to happen with experience. Because you'll see what literally works and what does not. Oh, thank you, Spongy. Yeah, and exploring is still important, and that's why we give the analogy of when you're going to jump ship to your own freelance life, you have to build the ship you're jumping to while you're on another one, or else you're going to jump that ship and then you're going to sink, right? You have to make a ship that can, feasibly float on its own. And then, yeah, it'll be a small, slow ship at first. It won't be as powerful as the other one, but it's your ship. It's your design. You're doing it the way you wanted to. So that takes time, and there's patience, and there's dedication. There's overtime working, because obviously you're on the other ship, but you're making a new ship. So before I jump ship, I had to, work on my stuff after work. One of those things. Like, it's a grind. And I'm still not where I wanted to be 5 years ago now, but that's because I didn't know a lot of the stuff I'm telling you now. Where the first couple years of your freelance life, you won't probably get to do what you want, because you'll be working on building that foundation, those connections you can use, those galleries you can talk to, other artists, that sort of thing. It's a whole other animal, too. Asling, yeah. So I would say, and usually when people are like, what would you, say your style's like? I usually tell people three different people. So I say Beatrix Potter, who did like Peter Rabbit and a lot of the older kids' books you're talking about. Brian Froud, who did Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, a lot of 80s concept work, and Don Bluth, who basically was the king of all the animal art in the 90s for animation. He did like The Rescuers, Secret of Nim, All Dogs Go to Heaven, like all those movies. Basically that Gabe and I kind of think started furry culture. But, I think there's a difference between anthro art now and animal art in general. I think it's kind of become its own thing. So, art college helps develop your passion. Yeah, and art college is a strange thing. I would say that you don't always need to go, but if you're somebody who, I guess, relies a lot on, networking and having contacts and just meeting other people in the biz, art college can be good. But honestly, if you're not driven enough anyway, college can't save you. I would say 70% of the kids that I graduated with didn't get art jobs. They're working, normal jobs still. They're not using their diploma, and that's basically because they didn't have that drive during college, and now they're not using it either. But I think if, like, the main thing is you always have to be honest with yourself at the level you are and your own drive. So I feel like there are a lot of people that don't need art college. And I feel like those people would know who they are. You know, they're already popular on Tumblr, or, you know, they've already got an established look to some of their products and they're already ready to go. You know? But I feel like they are aware of that. That wasn't me right away. I had to work at it and figure it out. But it's the sort of thing where, you know, I had friends in college who ended up going to work for Disney, and it's like during college, you knew who those people were. Like, you're like, yeah, he's amazing. He's gonna go on to crazy stuff. Like, those people are already destined, you know, let's say. Some of us have to work a little bit harder.
It's the people that got in trouble at work for working on art.
Sort of.
Like if they're in college and they got a second job or they got a job or whatever.
Oh, Asling, thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. 46-year-old female is just getting back into art. How would you suggest I go about building an art portfolio? I'm gonna be probably the first person to say that I feel like the portfolio is dead.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like portfolios are dead. Jazzy's right. Draw every day if you can. It's going to be hard in the beginning, so draw just as much as you can to build up to every day. But the more mistakes that you can make quicker, the better off you're going to be. Yeah, right? Portfolios are basically dead. It depends on the job you want, because you don't necessarily need a portfolio. Because of the internet and convention circuits now, you can basically build a business overnight. Honestly, if you're good at branding, you know what your main content's going to look like, you have a style for something that can work, you're done. Like, you know, it's become very easy and very difficult at the same time. I say easy because you can make like an art merch system basically overnight. However, the hard part is since everyone's doing it, it's really difficult to get seen. And that's why conventions are basically a must, because the internet is just, it's too saturated. Like in the 80s when there were artists, it was like there was, you know, like let's go back to Brian Froud real quick. He was the guy to go to for creatures in the 80s that were for fantasy films, you know? Him, Jim Henson, you know, Weta stuff early on. Like, there were like 5 to 10 people that you say, yep, them. And everybody knows them. But now, it's crazy. There's too many. So you have to somehow fight your way through the ranks. And some people, like, I know one of our friends grew to over like 250,000 followers on Instagram because he went viral. And that's crazy mad luck. Like, you can't count on that. You can't plan that. That's just literally you get lucky. So, I mean, that's still a way, but it's very, very rare, you know. You can't really plan for that. But yeah, portfolios are basically dead unless you're going into, like, comics or, I would say, going for the bigger companies. But at the same time, what those companies are doing nowadays is just going by who they know and who they see a lot. Because now the internet raises people up who are really, really good, so they don't even have to look very hard. So the problem is you have to be pretty, you know, adept at the internet and be able to do a lot of social media and stuff, put your stuff up all the time, get seen, and then once people start liking your things, they'll raise it up, like I said, and, you know, you'll be featured in places, and then someone at Blizzard, let's say, would see that. That doesn't even necessarily mean you need a portfolio. That's what I'm saying. Like, your portfolio technically becomes your social media presence. you know? So I only say they're dead in that sense. Like if you're applying to Disney or something, yeah, you still kind of need it for formality's sake. But just in general, if you're starting off right now, don't focus on a portfolio. You're going to want to focus on just getting back into the swing of things, figuring out what you like to work with, what your favorite content is to do. Like, are you fantasy? Are you sci-fi? Are you Western? What's your thing? Like, what do you like to do? And once you kind of figure that out, you gotta dig your heels in and do a lot of it, right? So it's a whole upward battle, really. And make sure you have a good balance of traditional and digital, because honestly, in this day and age, you do need both. So pay the $10 every month, get Photoshop. It's necessary if you eventually want to make prints and stickers and all that stuff. You'll need it. At least, you know, to some capacity, start to learn these programs. Very necessary. But also, you need to know your traditional work because it teaches you practical things that you can't learn really from digital. You know? So, very important. Oh, that was a juicy line. Oh my god. That one felt awesome. Okay, I think these are good. Let me look at them again. I'm gonna have to fix this area. Total problem area. Actually, I have to do these two again. Because this is when I started figuring out this formula that I used everywhere else. So, I might actually do that right now. Bruni! Hey, don't lick your paw. You're okay. Honestly, Jazzy, you're gonna have a tough time with that just because digital is kind of its own animal. I would say the things from traditional to digital that you're gonna have to carry over are basic concepts like, you know, perspective and, you know, proportions and whatever. Because, like, digital itself is its own monster. It's like, it is an actual medium, so it's like picking up oils and being like, okay, I'm gonna learn oils now. So it sucks because, like I said, it is its own monster. But it's also not just a tool, it's something that you need to use to supplement your traditional work. You know? It's true, Spongy. Yeah, color theory is nuts. And I mean, you're gonna find a lot of pressure when it comes to, you know, once you start digging into this world, you're gonna see what's popular, and it's gonna be hard once you realize who you are as an artist that you may not be that. You might not be what's wanted or popular. And that's a really hard realization to kind of deal with. Like Gabe and I, the art we like to do, it's not popular. But would we, you know, do what's popular just to get popular? No. And you shouldn't either. That goes against the heart of what art is, right? Because art is about expressing yourself, not about doing what's popular, you know? So if I give you any advice about, you know, finding, you know, your art voice and everything, just make sure you're really listening. Like, do I like this? Do I like doing this? Do I like oils? They're okay, but I like watercolor better. Okay, dig your heels in a watercolor. That's gonna work for you a lot better in the long run, because art is for you while you're doing it, and it's for others once you're done with it, is how I like to put it. Because, you know, you're using it while you're doing it to express yourself and learn certain things. Maybe you're trying to get better at a certain medium, all that stuff. So while you're doing it, it's for you. But once it's done, it can't really serve you anymore. Like maybe once in a while I'll have like a piece that I like and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I'll hold on to it for a little bit, but then I'll be like, you know what? this would serve a better purpose in someone's home where like they're looking at it and it makes them happy, you know, every day. That feels much better than making something that I made for myself and just having it sit there. You know, art, I feel, is meant to be given away in some facet. Exactly. Asling, I barely ever work with color. If I do, it's on stickers and it's usually desaturated, but most of my work is on toned paper and it's usually just tones. You know, it's values, that's it. Maybe once in a while I'll put in like a call out color, but honestly, it's just, I don't like bright colors and crazy saturated things. That's not me. And you'll be surprised too once you figure that out about yourself and you totally own it. And like when I go to conventions, it's so validating because I'll put up all my stuff and I am this, like, I want to say dank, but I'm this warm little spot that in this sea of anime, fan art, bright colors, juicy looking things, I'll say, I'm this little dried up leaf, you know, in the sea of gumballs, basically. Yeah, close the curtains. And I'm okay with that because it's the whole thing of what makes you different makes you stand out. And I own that, and I wear, you know, desaturated colors in my little booth. It's a little tree. It's naturey. It looks different than everything else that's there. And you have to be prepared to make sacrifices, you know, like that, to stand out and be different and be noticed, or else it's going to fall to the wayside. It's very important. Thank you. Oh man. Well, I'm so glad that speaks to you, and I can help you out with that. But don't get overwhelmed. At first, it's gonna be tough because you're gonna get hyped up. You're gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna get back into it, blah blah blah. And then they'll start actually walking the walk, and it's gonna be like trudging through mud, you know. And it's gonna be super hard at first, but you shouldn't give up. And just the thing that has helped me is when I get really overwhelmed with what other people are doing, or, you know, why am I failing and someone else is succeeding. Also, I'll talk about that in a minute. Failure. But you have to just remember you're doing it because you want to do it. Like, you want to make those things. Like, it, you know, if somebody wanted you to do something else because it's popular, are you going to do that? No. Why? Because you don't want to do that. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, and that goes for anything in life. If you don't want to have kids, don't have kids. If you don't want to own a house, don't own a house. If you don't want a 9-to-5 job, don't do it. Like, don't do things you don't want to do. Honestly, it took me a long time to realize that, and now it's like, for some reason, people don't think about it. You know? So back to failure. Failure doesn't exist. I'm just going to say it. That word is an American construct. Failure does not exist. What we see as failure isn't. It's just trial and error a bunch of times. There's no such thing as failure because you just took one thing, you tried it, it didn't work. That's okay. That doesn't mean it failed. It just didn't work, right? So don't look at failure as such an ultimate end to everything. You know, if you succeed with something, cool, move on, use it, take it, learn from it, and go. Same with what people call failure. It just didn't work, so alright, you know that now, change something, move on. Same as other stuff, you know? Don't let it, like, incapacitate you. So many people are like, oh my god, this picture only got 30 likes. Or 5 likes, or 1 like, or it didn't get any likes, or you're on Twitch and it's like, I have no viewers, I have to quit. This isn't working. It's like, no, that's not what this is about. It's not about that. Hey, Steven, what's up? Oh, Spongy. God, you're so great. Thank you. I'm honored to be the grass. The crappy thing I found, though, is when you start making actual connections in the industry, you have to be careful of who's doing what for what, or why they're doing things. I know that's super cryptic, but I guess just keep in mind people's intentions and look at who they're talking to and think about why they're talking to those people and not to other people. That's been an important thing, I think, for us to learn. Basically, certain people aren't who they say they are. Oh, you just messaged me. Thank you for signing up for the $6 Patreon. Oh my gosh. That's so great. I love when people sign on to that tier, because that is my favorite tier. Like, that tier is my pride and joy. I'm so excited for you. Yeah, just message me on Patreon, or just tell me right here. Actually, I will write it down, and then I'll add it to my spreadsheet. Yo, spreadsheet. You guys, don't underestimate spreadsheets. Let me tell you. And honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 whiteboards, okay? They serve purposes. They really do. Technically, we have 6. Nope, 7. So we have a calendar one that's like chores and stuff. That's work related, but I do have 6 that are work related, which is ridiculous. But it's important, if you're starting to go freelance and all that stuff, that you start documenting. I would say the 2 things that independent artists nowadays struggle with are organization and correspondence. They're really bad at emailing people the appropriate way, because they're kids and they never had like an actual job. So I feel like if you can work in a business atmosphere for a little bit before you go into freelance, it's good, because it gives you some basic business tools that you can apply to your freelance life. Like basic things like, how do you actually correspond via email in a very professional manner? A lot of people don't know that. So it's really weird. Magnets, nice. I actually like the magnets too. Yeah, social media. And I mean, not even just social media, but the friends you make may leave you because you can't aid them, let's say. So that's kind of a hard thing to find out when you don't have friends that like you because of you, but they thought they could use you, and when they find out they can't, they move on to people they can use. And that takes a while to realize when it's kind of hit you. So, just saying, watch out for people's intentions. And you can usually tell how they talk to you and about you and to other people. Take note of that, because if people talk shit about you or other people, they're probably talking shit about you to other people. Like, they're just that type, you know? Spongy, I'm glad you found that. And that's another thing, too. So, some people are gallery artists. Some people are more commercially and like to be, what would you call our art? It is kind of commercial. It's more lighthearted, I feel like. Mm-hmm. But like gallery art, I feel like that's some serious shit, right? Mm-hmm. So, depending on if you want to be kind of someone that kind of does a lot of little things and doesn't like to work a lot on one piece, versus somebody who really wants to take the time, polish something, make a big canvas striking piece, you know, you're going to find that out about yourself too. And neither is better than the other. It's just, that's going to tell you where you're going to need to put your time. That's important. you know. That's good though, Serenity. So I find myself kind of out of the norm when it comes to artists because I'm going to say I'm a Capricorn, yeah, but I'm like an A-type personality to a T. I am very business, I'm very organized, and it's hard for me to dip into the fun side of art sometimes and to relax. But that's something I've worked on over the years, and I think I've gotten better at channeling that. But I feel like, you know, knowing that about yourself is important too, because, you know, maybe you're the type who's really lofty, dreamy, can't really get organized no matter how hard you try. Maybe you suck at email. If you know that about yourself, you at least know what you can work on. You know, it's knowing the problem so you can fix it. Oh, see, Spongy, I could never do that. I like to, like, go with an impulse, make something, and then kick it out the door. Like, I think Gabe and I are the same. We don't like to work on stuff for very long, and we just want to, you know, get the idea out, and then it's there, and it's like, cool, done. You know? So yeah, as long as you kind of know what your weaknesses are, then you can work on them. And for some people, that's correspondence. Other people, you know, it's relaxing. It's fine with me and Gabe. Mine problem is relaxing, and Gabe's is actually trying to get his shit together. And we really do help each other with that. Like, he helps me, like, if I'm like, should I just go sit somewhere and stare at a wall? He's like, yeah, probably. You know, go have fun, go do something. And I'll tell him when he needs to, like, you know, get in shape regarding his organization. Like, I take note of when people buy things on his store so I can be like, hey, you should probably ship those today. It's been like 3 days. He's like, yeah, okay. So he's kind of pokey, but I'm kind of a little too militant, I guess. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good though.
What?
You know, that we have those two things.
Yeah, we're very lucky, I feel like, because, see, when people had told me a long time ago that opposites attract, I thought they meant, like, if I'm an artist, maybe I need to be with somebody who does math, right? Something like that. Like, I took way opposites. Whereas now I understand, at least for me and Gabe, opposites attracting to us means different mindsets. We really do think we need to be with other artists. Like, I would probably always have to date an artist. Because I married a programmer and that didn't work out. He was a little bit too analytical. But I think when they say opposites, they might mean that, you know. Alright, so right now these are the flats, right? So I'm basically just making a really obnoxious color that I know I'm not going to use, just to make sure, you know, I have the right, you know, the right selections made, and this is the silhouette. Basically, flats are outlining the silhouette. It's engraved with you? That's good. No, that's good, Serenity. I did the same thing. Like, my first job was a receptionist. So, honestly, that works out pretty good for me, you know? And then when I was in college, I had similar jobs that were, like, office related. And then I worked for a playground company, and that had correspondence too, so it's important, I feel like. Let's call it simple. This is a water boy. And dirt boy. Oh, Claude. Let's call him Claude. Sleeper. Twins. Oh, I still have to redo this top. I might have to go do that real quick. Alright. Yeah, I'm gonna do that real quick so I don't forget. Yeah, I think too different is just too different. I feel like when they say opposites, it's like you have to have your base kind of, I guess, established, you know? Which could mean a lot of things. Maybe it's you're both artists, maybe it's something that's more important. I guess it'd be whatever's kind of most important to you both. If that, you know, stays true, if that makes any sense. Why is this not even... Hello? Oh, darken. No. What? Weird. Alright, I'm gonna redo this one. You're good at telephoning? I feel like everyone hates to talk on the phone. Do any of you like to talk on the phone? I'm really curious. Here, I'll throw in a poll. New poll. Do you like to talk on the phone? I have this option now, so I'm gonna use it. Yes. No. Go. And Twitch gave me this option to use this poll thing now, so I'm gonna do it once in a while. It's so cute it has a little timer though. I love that. Few results. Some more people said no. Interesting. Oh, I don't either. To be completely honest, I can't. That's fair, Serenity, I figured. Like, I even really dislike calling to make appointments. Like, I'm at that point. I almost want to be like, hey, Gabe, will you make my dentist appointment for me? I don't know why. I don't know. It feels almost like small talk to me or something, and I hate that crap. Like, I hate it. So, like, I don't know. I feel dumb about it, but I'm pretty sure it's because I just don't do it anymore. Like, you know, when I was a receptionist, you know, that was my life. Which, you know, when you're getting paid for it, it's different, but I don't know, I hate the damn phone. Like, if someone's calling me, 100% of the time, I don't care who it is. Sorry, 90%, because it might be Gabe. I'll answer if it's Gabe. You're the only person I answer for. Yeah. But if it's anyone else, I'm not going to answer it. And you know the other weird thing, I would say for me in particular, you know, most of the time it's spam. It's spam nowadays. And, like, I'll look at it and my phone's like, well, it's spam. And I'm like, oh, okay. I won't answer it. But it's like, the fact we have that technology, it's like, why do spam callers even try anymore? You know? Like, what's up with that? Gabe, do you know?
I think they're just trying to hit the
old people? The booms? Get the booms. All them boomers. Because they'll answer it. They're used to answering the phone. All the booms. There. See? That looks way better. Glad I ever did it. Because this was the last Acorn top I did before I started doing them this way. And then the rest of them are done that way. So I feel like, yeah, it was probably better to do. Okay. So resave, redo. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I totally get that, Jazzy. do this. I have to save it as a separate file so I can call it up easier. Not have it conflict with the other one. So this is the new one. Just put it in over the other one. So that was the old one. I just don't like how detailed that is. It doesn't speak to the... See how much better that one is? It speaks better to the, you know, what the piece is for. Get rid of that. I'm gonna actually delete that because I actually want this one to be accurate. Alright. Combine my layers. Okay, so all the flatting's ready. Now I can start going in and coloring. So I'm gonna pick one of these that kind of has most of the attributes other ones do. So it's got an acorn top, it's got a body, it's got a stem, and it's got a leaf. I'm probably gonna go with this guy just because he's simple. So let's do that. So next step, create a clipping mask. So this is where I'm just gonna figure out basically a style for all of them using this little guy. So I'm gonna figure out what colors I want to use for most of them. And we'll go from there. I think I'm gonna do it in the watercolor style I did the other ones, the autumn ones. I really like that. I found an awesome watercolor brush that I'm super into. Let's see. So dude. I don't necessarily want to make them as dark or as brown as they normally are, because I want you to be able to see their eyes. I think I will go basic green on top. So even though I'm using like super simple colors, there's still color theory associated with that. Like you don't want to do colors that are too, you know, different from each other when it comes to their saturation or, you know, their values. You don't want them to be too dark. So even though you're doing something super, super simple and, you know, not crazy colors, you still have to think about, you know, do these colors look good next to each other? And sometimes color theory is completely subjective, but snoring move. Where'd it go? There it is. Put an asterisk by it. Maybe I have too many brushes. Tap click. Oh, I put up 2 pictures of the dogs today, and I think they're too cute. So if you want to see pictures of pups, go look at the ones I put up today. They're cute. Alright, so usually if I'm gonna start you know, rendering out something, I try to use the colors I've already kind of established, so I just eyedrop something else and maybe, like, I wanted to say pitch shift, but value shift it a little bit darker, or, you know, just to get it how I want it, but thinking I might actually want, maybe I should do this. How much time does the stuff have left? Do you mind taking care of that, and then I'll stop and then I'll cook them dinner? Is that alright? Alright. They're so good. I love our pups. We got very lucky. I think the fun thing with stickers is, too, you can be really experimental. So if I wanted to, and I was even thinking about it, just keeping them flat or just doing, you know, highlights. Don't even worry about shadows. You know, experimenting like that I feel like is important. You know, that can be part of finding your style for whatever you're working on. Rolls for days. We nicknamed her the bakery because she got rolls. Oh, Nuke Pig. Good one. I like it. How you doing, man? See, I'm still thinking, do I want to do these like this, or, you know, if I just did them with highlights, it'd be something more like just soft light or something. But then your mid-tone kind of becomes your shadows. I don't know. Kind of digging this still. Maybe just putting on some. Yeah, maybe I'll go with that. Let's see where we end up. Sometimes when you're experimenting with a piece too, you have to go a little bit farther than you may have thought, just to kind of play it out and see where it goes. I sound a little tired. Do I really? I get so many people telling me I sound tired. I might be concentrating. Thank you for the bit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm tired. I actually think I'm kind of lit. I think I honestly might just have a raspy voice. Gabe, is that it? What is it?
I mean, it's not like smooth like butter.
No, I wish I had a smooth voice like Serenity. Oh man. You guys should follow Serenity and just even listen to her talk. Like, I'm so jealous. She is smooth as silk, like, speaking. It's stupid. Like, I love it. Me, though, I've been told I sound like a smoker, and it's like, I don't smoke, man. Come on. Shut up, Serenity. That video you showed me, we were freaking out. Your voice was so smooth, dude.
I can't imagine what if you're screaming in those videos, I can't imagine what.
It probably sounds just louder and very soft.
No, I mean, is she saying that that's screaming?
Yeah.
Can you imagine her, like, on a good day?
Yeah, I don't even think, Serenity, I don't even think you screaming would be like, yeah, I don't even think so, man. Okay, so, I'm noticing here, I don't like the watercolor style for doing the highlights, because I don't like the wall for the highlights, but I like the wall in other areas. So I might actually just do a softer highlight, kind of like I've got up here. later when I get to that point with it. But I think right now, I think I'm okay with this. Yeah, I'm done with that. That works. Let's see how this goes. See what brown looks like just because. Aw, thanks for the follow, Nuke. I appreciate it. You sound like a 5-year-old. I don't think so, Jazzy. I think you sound pretty like your age, honestly. Even if you did sound like, your voice was higher or something, I feel like how you carry yourself with your voice and like how you speak just immediately, gets rid of anyone thinking you're younger or something. Because you're very, what's the word? You're just articulate and you speak eloquently.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because you speak eloquently, I don't think anyone would mistake you for someone younger. It's nice and calm here. Thank you. Serenity, you were sick in that video? Are you kidding me? Oh my god.
It could be like one of those situations where when you're sick and you sound really cool, but then when you're not sick,
okay.
you sound awful.
Yeah, alright. We'll go with that. So Serenity, when you're not sick, whenever that is, maybe do another video and we'll see if we can understand what you're talking about. Because I don't understand, man. You sound like super smooth. I think you're crazy, but that's just me. I need a moment. Aw. Well, you are, Jazzy. Every time I've spoken to you, you know what you want to ask, you know what you want to talk about, and you get it out there immediately. You don't, stammer, you don't waste time. And those are the type of people I enjoy talking to, is, people who know what they want to talk about. I hate small talk, man. I can't do it. Not anymore. I think there was a time when it's like you entertain small talk, maybe because you have to. But when you get older, it's just like, I don't give a fuck. If I ask someone how the weather is, I want to die. But it's like you kind of have to sometimes still. It's silly. Yeah, no, Serenity, your pronunciation was great. I think you're fine. Gabe, did you think anything?
Okay. You speak better English than I do.
Yeah, you speak... Shit, she speaks better English than I do. Like, I'm, like, completely native speaking. Like, first language, only language. You'd think I'd be better at it. Oh, you shouldn't hate it, Steven. I like your voice. I think you have a good voice. I like it. I think it's memorable because whenever you come around, you're like, hi! I'm like, oh, Steven's here. Like, I know your voice, but it's not like it's annoying or anything. I wouldn't worry about that. I think also just being a streamer, like, when I first thought of streaming, I was like, no. I know my voice is awful. I hate it. But I think everybody hates their voice. I'm learning that everybody seems to hate their voice. Does that seem right?
100%. Unless you're like super into your stuff, super, what's it called? What's the word? Narcissistic?
Maybe. But I mean, there are some people I'm sure that, like, man, I have a good voice. I should go into radio or something like that,
Yeah.
Maybe they know, but it's not like an ego thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think most people do probably hate their voice. It's weird though, I hate my voice on 2 levels because I don't like the one that's in my head, and then I listen to it recorded, I'm like, that's like 2 octaves higher than what's in my head. Like, I'd prefer the one in my head for other people to hear, Yep, that's what I'm saying, Pig. Like, it's so weird. You know, and Serenity, it's funny you say that because I feel like after a while of doing it, you just don't care anymore. Like if people don't like your voice, they won't stick around. Fine, that's okay. But if they don't mind it, you know, and then you just get used to it. You don't care anymore. Or at least I don't. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, whatever. Maybe some room lighting? Yes, no? Yeah, I guess that's okay. Yeah, I'll keep that, but I actually don't like this shadow at all. Redo. I actually want it thicker. Because, you know, zoom out so you know how it looks like if it's going to be small. But I don't know why I keep doing that. I could just do this. Or that's too dark. Is it this one? No. This one? No. This one. Yes. Yeah, it is smooth. It's very smooth. Alright. I'm gonna go over this. You want to get that? Do you want to use the processor or do you want to tear it up?
I'll just tear it up.
Okay. At some point we gotta start using the processor again.
We do.
No, we don't. No. When?
I used it last time.
Did you? I didn't.
Last time I did it, I think.
Really, Serenity? I could see that. There were a couple times you slipped into like this very, I don't know, proper. I guess it'd just be like proper sounding speak, you know? I could see that. Hopefully they didn't mean it as a diss because I don't think it's a diss, but water boy. Let's do this. I'm gonna do this one real quick. We're gonna be probably quitting soon, but I just want to do this one really quick because I've been waiting to do this one since I drew it last night. So. And since I'm using a lot of browns, I'm going to make this more teal looking water than actually blue looking water because I feel like teal looks better with brown. Clean English, wow. I don't know anything about that. Gabe, do you know what clean English is?
Clean?
Clean.
Oh, sorry?
That's a good guess, but no. Clean English. Interesting. And I'm going to add a layer above this so I can actually add these colors that I actually want. So I didn't do it over here, so I'm going to do it over here real quick. I'm going to switch my brush back to a normal brush and just do one of these. So this is actually going to soften it up a lot too. So make sure, what was 100? I mean, you can also just select these two and do this, but doing it however I see fit right now. See, and what's weird is I don't usually consider this like digital painting. Like, I know it is, but it doesn't feel like it because, I don't know, I feel like I'm not doing it the same way that somebody that paints normally digitally, like pieces, you know? This is my casual, I'm painting digitally work around, whatever you want to call it. How I do it, I don't know. So if I've got a big spot though, I'm just gonna lasso it. Just to make it easy. There you go. So. Oh, what? Did that not select? Oh, it did. Okay. So these are, I think each like an inch. Right, Jazzy? Doesn't that like immediately soften it up? So when I did my first mobile game and I did it, I wanted it to be very soft, you know? And that's honestly the easiest way I learned to soften something. So now let's do it real quick over here. Well, I've got these colors here. Let's just go for it. Obviously, I got a little messy here. And then I've got this next door, so let's just use that. But like, I think if you're gonna be doing kids illustration of any kind, this is an important, like, I don't know, just thing to learn. To soften line work, especially if you're into lines like I am. Like, I love doing line work, but I don't ever want it to speak too loudly. So if that's you, if you're that way too. And then go back down here. Oh, like I said, I've been waiting to do this water. I've been wanting to do it. Okay. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. But let's expand it a little bit. And we'll get rid of this guy. It was a journey. I had a lot of fun with last night's drawings. I showed people how to do, like we were making buildings, like fantasy buildings, and I showed how easy it basically is to do a fantasy building. So I mean, if you want to see my little shortcuts and things to how to do a fantasy building, go check out last night's stream. Because those are actually the way I usually kind of decompress. Like if I just want to doodle or something, I do a fantasy building because they're just so easy and nice. Yeah, Jazzy, you might dig that. Because there's this guy, every time he posts, and I feel like this is when you follow a good artist, every time he posts, I just want to draw. Like, it drives me nuts. His stuff is so good. I think it's that guy. Let me see if I typed it right. Yeah, so his buildings, like, don't underestimate the power of just doing one side of something a complete value. And especially with buildings, I feel like that's, like, number one. Because you mainly want to show where the sun's coming from, and usually, like, buildings are primitives. And because they're primitives, you know, you can do one whole side like that. And his stuff is just so polished, so smooth, so nice, but also just organic, you know. And I appreciate that so much. Like, I'm not usually impressed if somebody's like, I spent 150 hours on this. It's like, why did that take you 150 hours? You know, I bet you could have done some workarounds. Like, some people go straight for the, I want to impress people with, you know, how much time this took me. I don't think that's necessary. I know some people that are just about that. So don't be that guy, you know. There we go. Looks pretty fun. I don't want it this dark. This is a little too dark. So maybe... let's just eyedrop it and go up a little. Like, every time he posts, I'm like, oh, I really want to go do a building. See, that's a little bit too... And then I want to do a couple little shines here. Oh, why? Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, if it's huge, I feel like, okay, yeah, that merits 150 hours. But if it's something smaller, you know, time doesn't denote quality. You know, they just might not actually know what they're doing. I found that to be true too. Maybe they were, you know, fucking around and it took them that long, and it's like, well, you know, if you knew what you're doing. I'm usually more impressed if something didn't take someone very long. You know? Like, that kind of impresses me more. Because then it, you know, it means like they know what they're doing. Also ask yourself why that person's probably telling you how long it took them. Like, if they tell you without you asking, that's probably a, you know, hey, red flag. Why do you want me to know that, guy? Yeah, basically. And I usually like I have friends that are gallery artists, but I feel like you can always kind of see through a certain one that's just like, oh yes, and this one represents this, and this part of my soul, and blah 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 blah. I hate to say that trope is true, but it kind of is. Rooney, don't do that right now. It's almost time for dinner. Are you still tired? How are you still tired? You've been sleeping for like 3 hours. Alright, let's see. Need to go get that color. There it is. Okay. Oh. It's okay, Butters. Yeah, right? But make sure they haven't done it 1,000,000 times either. Because then they obviously have a system of how to do it. Hey, hey, hey. You know Papa's cutting up chicken for you? He's got chicken?
Right.
Oh, Butters is coming. Here she goes. Go get him, Butters. Go get him. How close are you to being done with that, Gabe?
2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay, guys. I'm probably gonna go because I have to make the dogs their dinner. I actually cook my dogs dinner. because I'm silly, but it makes them happy, so that makes me happy. At least I got the water on this because that's what I mainly wanted to do. Let me do one more thing. Does anybody have anything to say before we go? You have any more questions? This was a nice impromptu stream. I found that fun. Let's do a little bit darker of a... Yeah, there we go. That's going to really help. I learned a lot of these tricks with water and jelly stuff when I was making mobile games. If you want to look up like jelly buttons and things like that, you can technically learn a lot pretty quickly. I don't know if I like that actually. Maybe down in the corner? It was fun to meet you too, Pig. So usually I stream on Fridays, and it's going to be probably at 7 p.m. now, but I don't know, I was thinking of switching to Saturdays too, but I'm still working it out. I don't know. I've changed my schedule in the past 3 years on here so many times, but it seems like you have to almost apply your own holiday hours and stuff because people are here, then they're not here, and blah, blah, blah. You know, if it's summer, if it's not summer, it's all depending. So, anyway, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I kind of like that. Okay. And Asling, if you're still here, thank you for becoming a patron. If anybody likes that little guy in the lower left corner, he is part of my Patreon. He's this month's Mythical Guardian. He's on the $6 tier, Curious Collector, which you get all the stuff that's in that picture. So, including these little Acorn guys. So, I'm making these stickers. So you'll get this set of stickers, as well as all the other stuff, like the lore sheet, the buttons, or magnets, in a little creature buff sort of thing. So, if you're interested, check that out. Otherwise, my other socials are there. I'm basically Cloverkin everywhere. So, anyway, if I don't see you before Friday, I'll see you on Friday. So take care. Have a good weekend, okay, everybody? Bye.